The thrust of my discourse is COVID-19. And what we are to talk about is public relations strategies to help brands survive beyond COVID-19. Is it possible for you to expose the slides from your end? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. I will do that now. I will do that now, sir.
All right. COVID-19 is a virus-bred pandemic.
Are you seeing
that? It paralyzed interpersonal and grouped interactions on which marketing thrives. It reduced communication and contact activities drastically, almost to zero level. It is a global incident, no doubt about that. And it is an infectious emergency too. It is a crisis with all-inclusive reach. There's nowhere you can hide yourself that COVID cannot get to you. And of course, it is a crisis with all-inclusive reach. It is yet to have specific Medicare, as all efforts still involve trial and error. So there is no specific cure that we can rely on for now. And because of that, it is a long-term damage to economy in its entirety. It has changed the total scenario of marketing and marketing communication. For example, space, which is a beauty of display and transaction, is already eliminated out of marketing system. So it's not necessary to have a space any longer. The warehouse can be on your tablet or even your handset. The showroom can be there. The whole warehouse and showrooms of Konga and the likes, they are all available portably on our telephones. It is now online economy. And if it's now on online economy, you have buyers market more than sellers market. But the sellers market you have, they are more of survivor items, especially food items. Because if you need food, it will reach you anywhere. And the person selling commands the dictate, he commands the times of business. And when you look at brand survivor, the brands are identifiable phenomena. It could be human being, it could be a product, it could be an event, it could be a place. The features of brand as entity or personality calls for enhancement, redesign, packaging, fitness, portability, safety, taste. So all these are the features of survivor. Move on, move the slide on. Yes, that's why we are. Leave it there for now. The branding perspectives, brand image varies according to the nature and the attributes of the entity called the brand. A brand can be a person, like a musician. A brand can be a liquor, like a bottled drink, or a jar of ice cream, or a bar of soap. Each of the above has identity, distinguishing it from any other brand. For example, A policeman in uniform is a security brand. Pepsi Cola in the bottle is a food item. And of course, Lux soap to take your bath is another brand. For anything to be branded, there is the aim of making it up to be attractive to a particular target market or a stakeholder. Branding involves identification elements such as the name, the color, the size, packaging, volume, taste, and so on. The strength of a brand normally determines its survival in a normal situation. This strength could be any of or combination of the following among others. It could be aesthetics, which is the beauty of the product, or taste of the product, or price of the product, competitiveness of the product, color or size, safety, reusability, or availability as well as durability. All these features determine how strong a brand is. Then, public relations strategies. Before we can apply it to the brand survivor, we must know what it is. Maintaining and sustaining a mutually beneficial relationship. Sustainable relationship and mutually beneficial exchange are the two major benefits of marketing, derivable from public relations as influencer and fertilizer of brand promotion. If we look at public relations strategy, simply put, a strategy is a gradient of calculated steps taken to achieve a set of goals. Strategy is a bundle containing a set of tactics. Public relations as strategies, therefore, can be various bundles of communication and interactive tactics aimed at creating relationships and which are sustainable and mutually beneficial to every stakeholder. So you can talk about distributors, brand valuation, consumers, markets, internal customers, external customers, the media, then stakeholders of interest. And then this is what we refer to as this 360-degree audit of stakeholders. Public relations goes beyond customer relations or customer care because the customer is just one out of so many stakeholders. So to survive COVID and to remain surviving after COVID, every brand requires a good mixture of balanced relationship with the stakeholders that are critical to it. If you are a business that is set up as a small business in the corner of a village, the people gave you the land, the community members that build around your shop, these are causative stakeholders. And if you are not keeping them as friendly as necessary and you are not maintaining relationship, you might lose the entire business by the time somebody says you should leave, you should pack and go, leave the land for him. His father that owned it is dead and he's now thinking of doing something else with the land. So if you are chased out of the land where your kiosk that you use for selling your coke is placed, you are out of business. And simply because you could not maintain cordial relationship with a stakeholder that was critical. And if it's a big company, a good example would be a situation where a community gets into riot to say, well, you did not employ any of the entities into your establishment and they know you are making a lot of money, then you bring people from other parts of the places and so on. That interest not protected can decide to send you. A good case that came to my mind was an oil company that had a filling station built on a land provided for children as playground in an estate. And because they had money, they were able to buy governor's ratification over to build a station there. But the retirees, who are so many as residents of that environment, they went to court, they challenged that company, and they challenged the governor's ratification, which overruled, as at that time, the original CFO that was given. So when they lost in court, the residents lost in court because the oil company had money. They went again to the tertiary stakeholder, which was, as at that time, UNICEF, protecting the interests of children. And UNICEF wrote to Nigeria as a country to say, well, you are a signatory of this convention, displacing children from a playground and using it to build a filling station to sell inflammables and toxicants is not allowed. It's against the convention. And that was how that oil company had to back and toe the line of sense. But by the time public relations came in, after some years, to say, okay, we want to build a very spacious children ground for you. Threats of or from death of COVID-19 is a threat as well as an agent of death against both human brand and other types of brands, be it a body corporate or service or a product. COVID-19 granted almost every human right, spread among people, compulsory restriction, individual and group demobilization, insecurity, compelled ill lifestyle, suspension of open events such as exhibition, concert, trade fair, demonstration, sport activities, and others. PR strategies for brand survival beyond COVID-19. Coronavirus may not live in a hurry, and its negative impact on both public relations and marketing will remain causative. Hence, the need for public relations strategies to fortify brands. It is important that every brand fortifies itself with public relations now, so that it could sustain relationships that will be able to sustain its future. Public relations strategies for brand survival beyond COVID-19. The first strategy is social responsibility, which must permeate relationships and stakeholder engagement. How can we link social responsibility with COVID-19 for business survival? We can remind our stakeholders about COVID-19 protocols, which are essentials now. The protocols are essentials. We must all observe them on a daily basis. So there are needs for reminder communication, reminder channels, reminder information, reminder content to help our stakeholders, our consumers, our retailers, our wholesalers, our stockists, as well as our other stakeholders. Then we need to also assist them, if possible, with preventive devices and kits as giveaway items divided among attributes like age, gender, social status, and the rest. So reminder communication exposure can be for key targets. Or anybody who remembers you during difficulty, during sickness time and so on, you remember him also that is a good friend. So how many organizations can your brand partner with for safety, for support during this very serious Corona-19? The second one is the social media pathways. I am happy that this summit has covered a lot of related subject matters that we reinforce each other as participants remember. The gentleman that worked on digital marketing did a lot in this regard, especially to sell products and services. But my own concern is to look at the social media as pathways to build stronger relationships, to reassure mutually beneficial exchange, which is business, which is marketing. And that is why it is important to know that now technology will remain overtasked as a result of sweeping restrictions against social gathering, public crowding, and all kinds of fellowshipping, like religious centers, clubs, hotels, and bars. More than ever, every social media platform has provided alternative approach to sustainable relationship and mutually beneficial exchange. You can see that the two variables, sustainable relationship and mutually beneficial exchange, are being repeated so often because that is the secret of success for the synergy between public relations and marketing. Virtuality has taken over the conventional spaces for business. For example, a webinar has taken care of seminars in hotel conference rooms, like this marketing summit we are having. If it's a co-hotel we are taking, the Voya or the Hall, we know how much it will cost. And the planners can never ask you to come and pay 5,000 for a function that will hold at a co-hotel or Radisson Blu. But because technology has made it more accessible, more available, and more portable, so you are asked to pay a token of 5,000, even with all you have listened to and with a certificate in your hand. So product exhibition at trade fair, product launching and cocktails are now doable on Instagram, LinkedIn, and others. Annual general meeting is now a regular feature on Zoom. Stakeholders can be segmented in many ways for brand update, for brand renovation, and for brand demarketing as well as continuous communication if need be. So you can do your stakeholders mapping, segmentation of your target audience, and then take care of them one by one with public relation strategies. Warehouses are now online with every detail, every clarity, and space achievable in the real physical sense. So if you enter any virtual shop or virtual supermarket now, you can go to medication, you can go to hair care, you can go to sanitaries, you can go to food, you can go to vegetables, you can go to spirits and wine, you can go to beer. Any sector of the supermarket you go, it's like you are working in a real physical supermarket. So the hiding place and the place of strength for every brand now is the social media platforms. Product portfolio, clients file, invoices, delivery notes, stock balances with prototype of and samples of the products are all realities on the handset or tablet or desktop. Competition monitoring and analysis of the brand share of the market are strategies on the go via social media. We just listen now to an expert on measurement, research, evaluation, and as marketing spaces. And you saw what he was trying to say, how we can measure everything that we are doing relating to marketing and public relations. So that is a very strong corner for public relations to impact positively on marketing during and after COVID, because you can always measure. Now that the victim of COVID-19 is increasing, so what can my product do to maintain its sales shares, profit shares, and of course, which new opportunities can my product get out of COVID impact? Because it calls for innovations. There could be a lot of market gaps, discoveries, opportunities coming out. And the more we find out, for example, a very smart Spanish company that was into spirits and high-level alcohol discovered that sanitizer has a higher percentage of alcohol. And they also found out that the quantity of alcohol they will need to make sanitizer was far less in 100 units than the alcohol needed to make a bottle of alcohol of 13% or 15% to sell. So they quickly diversified and started manufacturing sanitizer. After 3 months, the decision was that it is better for us to use our materials to make 80% of our stock sanitizers and 20% spirit and hot drink, as long as COVID-19 is lasting, is trending. So such a company may prefer COVID not to even go, because the more money they are making, and but that is not a good advantage. However, they were able to explore the opportunities that the situation gave them. So we need a lot of product portfolio creation, product clients file and profiling. You need to profile every segment, every market, even every customer. You need to profile the time, frequency of purchase, volume of purchase, and then even the duration of payment, turnaround time of delivery. So feedback analysis is a brand performance with the aim of updating aesthetics, safety, competitiveness, weight, color, and of course, as a premium strategy. Then there are other PR strategies. Delivery and mobile service. They are now trending better than before because people are now more at home. They order online. A cyclist come and knock your door and deliver. Even you can stay in your house without cooking, visiting your kitchen, because they can bring breakfast, they can bring lunch and bring dinner, depending on the size of the family. Then smart banks, they do delivery banking. If you are a money bag that must spend cash, the bank can deliver to you at home at a fee. So, and of course, consumer compensation, product use training, how to use a product is not, the training goes on online. You don't need to go to the factory. They don't need to send a salesman. They can send a recorded version if you cannot read. The consumer compensation, branded giveaways. Bunting and merchandising. Bunting is like flying a flag. It is not just banner. It is when you position a banner on the high table of an event, even virtual event for that matter. So everybody that is watching the chairman of that occasion must be watching your banner behind the chairman. That is called bunting. And the same thing goes for other arena, like if you are watching football, if you position the banner of your brand behind the goalkeeper, it becomes the bunting. And the merchandising is when you use printed materials or video materials to remind people about your product. Just like in those days when Guinness will paste around everywhere. Guinness is good for you. Guinness is good for you. Guinness, that short message everywhere is a reminder ad, reminder advertising. And It's a public relations communication, creating awareness, and then, of course, reminding those who have been patronizing, but creating awareness for the new buyers. So during and after COVID, brands will need such smart moves. Then, if you cannot be a sponsor of online events, you can co-sponsor, because that is where the masses are. That is where the market opportunities are. That is where you can find your consumers, your users, your retailers, and your wholesalers. So you need to move away from the old road. People are now they are now going by air, they are going by rail, and they are going by expressway, no longer on third road. And that is just kind of analogy that can make us understand what we are talking about. Then you should also be part of the palliative messages and palliative gifts, no matter what you are selling. If you look at the palliatives being distributed all over this country, you will be surprised that food item manufacturers dominated the scene. Then out of counter products like sanitizer, mask, and so on also dominated. So we had two major broad divisions, food and medication. And if you look at that, most of the brands that are superior brands, or the brands you can create mostly circulated brands, they were still the dominants in the system. They were still the one that you can see everywhere. In fact, I love that some presentations to government and the COVID task force, when I see a company who is not talking about his own brand at all, there is nothing you can say about the brand that they represent. They are not even wearing the t-shirt of the bank or insurance company they represent. All they do is to dress very well, put their mask, and come and bring packets of biscuits or spaghetti of a particular company. So the hundred of cartons they are offloading rather from that vehicles, is each one they carry is a promotional strength to the manufacturer of the food item they are donating. But in their own case, the only place you find their names when you read the caption of the picture, or when you hear the presenter say, on behalf of ABC Bank, ABC Insurance Company, we are donating this. But when you look at the donations are brands of another organization entirely. So that is the kind of thing that we watch. Then public relations strategies and product life cycle. We are all marketers, and we know very well what product life cycle means. That is the total lifespan that a product lives and what happens to it. Introduction, which is at birth. Growth, then saturation, when it makes the highest income, and then decline when it's tired of breeding money. So introduction, the birth time, requires public relations for cultivation of relationships. The growth requires public relations for maintenance, so that our friends who have adopted us, existing consumers and customers, should not leave us. Maintenance, we continue frequenting them and giving them the promises fulfilled. Then saturation point means public relations for harvest and fortune. Yes, this is the best time. Let us get the best out of the best, and let us make our fortune before somebody else jumps into the scene. Then decline situation, that requires PR for successors to be introduced and diversifiers to be adopted. So public relations must look for successors, must also prepare them ready for the role of taking over. And the same thing, diversifiers must be identified and trained to bring their own ideas, inject fresh ideas, inject new products, inject new buyers for existing products, or go to a new market for existing products. And this is where diversifiers are relevant. And they must be recruited, empowered, and encouraged by public relations. Each stage of product life cycle has its peculiar target audiences. Hence, peculiar public relations strategies to manage each. At birth, researchers are needed, regulators are needed, promoters are needed. Growth, wholesalers are needed, retailers are needed, merchandisers are needed. Saturation. Bankers are important. Competitors must be watched very well. Suppliers must be taken good care of. Tax office must be complied with. Regulators must be complied with. Then decline. Successors must be introduced. Diversifiers must be adopted, like I said earlier, and with a lot of motivation. There are some public relations efforts that I regard as cosmetic efforts. These are very, very necessary if we must keep our brands beautiful and marriageable. If we don't keep your damsels, your junior sisters and your daughters very attractive in this era of beauty-driven love, we may not help them to get hooked on time. And that is the reason why throughout the life cycle of any brand, its concerted effort will always be to achieve the dictate of either model. And what is either model dictating? This becomes more realistic under COVID-19 and beyond. The brand must attract attention. That is A. The brand must arouse interest. That is I. And the brand must motivate decision. That is D. And the brand must facilitate action. That is A. Either model is necessary to be achieved as public relations and marketing goal during and beyond COVID-19. In conclusion, public relations must continue to fire communication content. It must continue to fire channels. It must continue to dictate relevance of both the channels and content via technology for enduring relationship that will deliver mutually beneficial exchange, safety, and continuity. Thank you for listening.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much.
Wow.
That was short, sharp, and straightforward to you know,